Hey everybody, Vincent Pleasant back again from Pleasant Woodworks. Today is a very special day for me, a long awaited day. I got a CNC machine. So I've been wanting a CNC for probably about 5 years, ever since I first started doing woodworking and working with wood. And finally been able to get one. So today we're gonna unbox this machine, get it put together, and probably do a separate video on installing the spindle and flattening the wasteboard, and another video doing my first carver. I don't know for sure exactly how many videos it's going to be, but that's the plan for now. So sit back and relax, and let's get this thing put together. So this CNC machine, the one that I decided to get, is a Onefinity Elite Foreman with a 4x4 work area, and there's a few reasons why I decided on this machine in particular, and I'll go over all that after it's all put together and assembled. But already I went ahead and put my bench together. I had a co-worker build the frame out of 2-inch steel. He's a very, very nice gentleman who was able to do this for me, and I'll put in some pictures on the process of him doing it. And he built the frame. I put the top on there. I got some drawer storage over there and a little shelf to put stuff on. The VFD for the spindle and stuff like that. But first thing I need to do is get these boxes opened and find my Y rails and go from there. Alright, so we got everything unboxed, got the rails set up at roughly 48 inches. It's close, but having moving some things around, I'm sure it's shifted a little bit. But as of right now, that part doesn't matter. They do, being that this is a Onefinity Elite Foreman, I believe it's the Elite models, or the Foreman models, or maybe it's just Elite Foreman. I'm not sure. But it comes with these riser blocks that have to go underneath here. Otherwise, I don't know if you noticed before, it kind of teetered a little bit. So they have these blocks underneath here so that these the Y rails can move along the axis without hitting your surface. So got these. I just got them set in there right now. They do come with bolts that will bolt them down later, but right now, with this model, the stepper motors, the closed stepper motors, they don't come pre-installed. So you gotta put them on yourself. So the ones with the drag chains, I went ahead and pulled the cables out, and I did it for the one that doesn't have the drag chain as well. But you have to pull the cables out. Now we need to remove the drag chain first, right here, and then this plastic piece right there. So just gonna use my 3mm here and take these out. All right, once this is down, got to use our socket and our wrench to remove these two bolts here to get this piece off. And for the record, this is a 4mm. So we take this piece off, and take that piece off. And we'll do that same process with this one over here with the drag chain. Alright, so I had to get a different socket here because my 8mm that I had used for the first nuts was too short. But I don't have a long 8mm, but I do have a long 5/16 that I'm going to use to hold these nuts here. So you can see, need to take these screws out here. So we'll do that now. Alright, so I did a quick pause. Well, it wasn't so quick, but I went to the store and got some bits to use for the drill to make this part go a bit faster. So we went ahead and took the brackets off of this side. Need to do that for each one that has a drag chain on it. Once those are removed, we need to take the mounting bolts off for our Z motors because they don't come installed. So now I'm going to go ahead and I did these two already. I'm going to do this one here. Need to take and unscrew these inside bolts here, and now I'll move this over so you can see these bolts here are the ones that we're removing now. So I'm just going to take the socket, put it on there, and unscrew these. Now with these off, I'm going to go ahead and do our stepper motors. This stepper motor here has an orange one. This is for the Y1 rail, the one that has the drag chain on it. So got to line these little slots up here with the ball screw inside here so we can push this on like that. Get the holes lined up. Now we can put our screws back in through the motor, or the hole for the motor. Get this bottom one first. And then the top one. Boom, just like that. So now we'll screw these on. I've watched some videos of installing or putting this together, and this is one part that I don't remember seeing, so it took me a little bit to realize what all you had to do. Although there are instructions on the website, and I'm kind of going off of that and learning everything as I go. So put this on. Screw that side on, the bottom one. Now we do the top. Now we come back over here to this side. And first we need to put in our long bolts. Because remember, this is the one that has a bracket on it. Put our long bolts in first. There. And then we do one of the screws, or one of the nuts for the screw. That one started. Then we got to get this one started. Pretty much just doing everything in reverse from where we started at. Taking the drag chain off. Come on. Alright, now all the motors are on. I believe the next step is to wire them up. Alright, so I already did these two motors wired up. Now, to wire these motors up, there's two screws in the back. Gotta unscrew those screws. Now with the screws out, the cover itself just lifts up. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, on these motors, they're very easy to hook up. You got two slots here, more slots over here. Same thing here with your plug. So just hook up the small one, for me at least, the small one on the left. Clicks in place. Then do the one on the right. Seats there. Now you want to be careful putting these covers back on. These wires here need to go into these slots. So kind of have to maneuver the wires a little bit to get them in the slots. And then press the cover all the way down. Just like that. And with that done, we can screw the screws back together, or back into the motor. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, got the motors all situated. Now, I opted to go with the extra third rail. It's called a stiffy bar, and put it onto here. So the first thing we need to do to get the stiffy bar on is to disassemble it. So I got my 3mm? Yeah, 3mm here. And there's two bolts on the top that we need to remove. So once we get these removed, we may be able to slide it off just by removing these two. If not, we may have to loosen up the tramming bolts that are on the side. Oh, on the side, there's one in the front, one in the back. So that slides off. Hello. Now, once that's off, we can take this off. And then on top of here, there's two little set screws in there. I'm gonna loosen those set screws as well. You don't want to take them all the way out. We just loosen it so we can get the bearing out. Oh. It came out. So need to install this on. I got you facing the back of it. I'm gonna put this lip on the back like this and install, make sure it's flush, install the screws into it. So it comes with 4 silver screws and 2 black screws. So we're going to do the long silver screws first. Make sure I got them all sized right. So the longer screws go towards the front of the rail. There. The other one goes in there like that. And then I'm gonna take my wrench. It's I think it's a 4. And I'm just putting them in just a little bit from now. And then the 2 smaller screws goes towards the back. Come on. Stop it. So, after some technical difficulties, a few choice words, and stuff, I think I got to figure it out. Because what happened was, I was trying to use these screws as the longer screws to go in there, and they wasn't seating. So I was like, maybe I got the screws mixed up. So I did some tests. These screws that I thought were for the front actually go over here to the sides when we go to mount this. So gonna try again. Put this on here with the lip towards the back, and then use the silver long screws. Go in the front here, if I can get my big fingers in here. And then these smaller black screws go to the back. There. And there. And now we use our wrench and put them in the holes. Screw them in. So that's on now. Now we're gonna put the bearing on here. We're going to mount this on here. This is not light. So there's a little groove here on the bottom of these. Again, the lip here goes towards the back. So need to put the groove, these bolts here, into the groove. Slide it in just like that. Come over here to this one and do the same thing. Put that back in there. Like that. Hello. Guess we'll just go ahead and screw down one side so that don't happen again. So this screw here, and I'll grab this camera over here so maybe it'll make sense. So this screw here needs to go in here, that hole, and screw, marry these two together. Again, if I can get it in the hole. Now that it's in there, use our wrench to go through and screw it down. Go ahead and line this up to get it back. Ow! To get it back in here. Yay, camera, extra battery saved the day. So got the bearing back in. Gonna tighten down these set screws to lock the bearing in here. So, Alright, bearings locked in. Now we put this end cap back on. Again, with the lip here towards the back. Put our 2 screws, get those started. With this all the way forward, I'm going to tighten up these side screws again. And then tighten these down. Can you see me over there? And then lastly, put our small screw, or the silver screw, back in the side just like we did over there. Alright, stiffy bars on, so gonna go next and work on getting these back lined up because we had to move them around to get the motors and stuff on. I'm gonna get our set them about 48 inches apart, and I think next after that we'll attach some feet to the plywood. Be right back. Alright, so got these approximately 48 inches apart. And now, with the help of the wife, we're going to put the X-rail on top of both of the Ys. Now I went ahead and moved these all the way forward per the instructions. So now we got to lift this up and put it on here. And this is, again, not light. So, come on. Ready? Up. We're good. back side of this one over a little bit. I think that'll be all right there. Now, this side is okay. There we go. That side's okay. There we go. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put one screw into the X rail going into the Y. Or bolt, I should say. And oh, these are different. These are 5mm. And I'm just going to put one of these in. One there. And one over here. Alright, got one there, and now I'm going to screw one of these that mount to the plywood. Put one of these screws in each one. Alright, so got one screw in each of these, one screw in each of these. Now we're just going to push this to the back to kind of use it to square itself. There. Now this should be square. I'm going to double check it with the tape measure. Do it in an X pattern. Perfect. So now, go ahead and put screws back there. Okie dokie. So, got those in there. Now we can go ahead and finish putting the screws in the X-ray. Alright, so we got the X and Y's all squared. Now I got some homing switches. So with the Elite Foreman, it has these homing switches right here. All they're going to do is they're going to sit up here. I already did both of the Y's. Now I'm going to add this one to the X. It just sits on top of these screws here, and it comes with supplies screws just to screw it down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And as soon as I say that, it don't want to go in. There we go. just like that. All right, so these switches are on. I need to add one more switch up here for the X-Rail. It's what'll trigger this homing sensor here. And it just simply goes on. There's some grooves underneath here that we're going to use for our wires later. But it just sits on here. Where'd it go? Right there. Yeah. Right there. So using a 4mm, just feed it through here, put it in the hole, snug it down like so. Slide it over. It will trigger just like that. Perfect. Alright, so moving that out the way, now we're going to get ready to mount the controller screen. So first thing you need to do is take these bolts out here. These are just for shipping purposes. They'll be extra by the time we're done. So just unscrewing these two here. Set this to the side. Now we're going to use our mount for our screen and put it on here. And I'm going to do the shorter screws. So there's two short screws and two longer screws and two nuts. The nuts go with the longer screws, and the shorter screws will just screw into this housing for the drag chain. So I'm going to set it up here. Put our screen mount on here. Feed it through. If I can get my own fingers out of the way. Feed it through there, and it'll go into the drag chain. There we go. Put that one in, the shorter one in, the other short one in, and just screw it into the drag chain. These out of the way, we get the mount for the screen here. Comes with a nut and washer. Take the nut off, drop the washer, set it in here, put our washer on the nut, and we screw it in. That. There we go. Best part of getting any new electronic. Feels so good. Feels so good. Turn off. Alright, so last thing I think before wiring, gonna mount the Z slider here, and I'm gonna mount it at its lowest setting. So I got this moved out of the way so I can get to the bottom holes I did a little bit of a dry run, and I'm like, I can't get a hole into the bottom one. So you got to move this up by hand manually. It's a little stiff, but it's good. So now I'm going to go ahead and, like I say, I'm going to mount it at its lowest position. So it's going to be the highest set of holes here. And there's 2 holes here, 2 holes here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the first one on. And I'm not going to screw it in completely, because I'm going to square it up a little bit first. So that one's tightened up enough for now. Do the second one here. Screw it in. And then we do our bottom 2 holes, which is right here. Now I'm going to use this square here and just kind of roughly square it up, which, at least as far as this can read, is pretty dang square. Alright, so now we're ready to do some wires, do some wiring, and we'll get this thing wired up so we can power it up. So I got my wiring instructions here, just so I don't miss anything. So I think we're going to start with this over here. So first up, we're going to plug in the Z2 wire into the Z2 socket. So come over here. Going to take the Z2 wire here and plug it into the Z2 socket. And I believe it clicked. Yep. So that's there. Next up, we're going to do the X2 wire into the X2 plug. There. And then we do the X homing switch, which is this one right here, and plug it into here. I'll set you down for a second. All right, so that's wired up. Now we'll do the Y rails. So I'm going to get the wire labeled Z1 and put it in the Z1 socket. So got my wire here labeled Z1, and it needs to go into the Z1 socket, which is, move this out the way, which is right there. So grab this, turn it around, plug it into there. Boom, Z1. Next, we're going to do the X1 wire here and plug it into the X1 socket. So we got the X1 wire there, plug it into the X1 socket, Boom. And then the Y1 wire into the Y1 socket. So the Y1 is underneath there, and I have my Y1 wire. Plug it into the socket there. Boom. And now we need to attach our homing switch, which is this wire here coming from up there, and we're going to attach it right there. Boom. Now we're going to do the other Y rail. So I need the wire labeled B1, which is this one right here. Put this I'm going to put it over here into this one labeled B1. See the wire there, B1. We're going to put it in here, click, and we attach our homing sensor to this one right there. All right. Now we got to do the Z slider and connect the wires labeled Z2. Let's see. All right, so after thinking, remember this plate right here that we put on? Yeah, we got to take that out or back off, because our wires are going to go through there. So we're going to use the left notch here to put our wire through. And so looks like the cable is going to go through this one, and it's a bit stiff. So up in there. Now once I get my spindle mounted in here, I'm going to have to take that plate off again. But for now, we're going to put that through there. Homing sensor is going to go, I'm going to have it going around right there over the top, and then we'll connect these cables to these two. There's the notch there. Homing switch goes there. Alrighty. So now we're going to take the plug labeled Y and plug it into the Masso, which is this cable right here. This cable here is labeled Y. And we're going to plug that into the back of the Masso. Move this out so. So Y to this Y here. There. Then we're going to do the B cable. So this is the B cable. It's on the Y rail that's on the other side. So plug that into here. And once I get everything plugged up, ready to power, before I power anything on, I'm gonna do some cable management. And I gotta drill some holes through the cabinet in the inside the bench, because my power is over there. I got 4 outlets for 2 circuits. I'm gonna put the spindle on one circuit, the Masso on another circuit, and then I have an outlet over here for the dust collector. So got the B there, the Z cable. Where's my Z cable? The Z cable here. And put that into the socket labeled Z, which is this first one right here. Into the X, into the X. So X cable here, and the X is the middle set of plugs there. Am I doing this right? Yep. Double check myself. Come on, get in the hole. There we go. There. And that was the X cable there. Alrighty. And now this one is the power wire for the Masso. And it goes on the far right one over here. Like that. Now there are spots down here for the tool setter and a probe and a laser. I don't have the laser for this because I have a big laser over there. But I do have the tool setter and touch probe, and I'll do those in a separate video. But those will plug in down there as well. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some cable management. I'm gonna think about it for a second and drill some holes and get everything powered on. Be back in a second. So did a couple modifications to my setup. What I did do down here, I did put a cable tie there. It's not squeezed all the way down, but it's enough to where I can move my cables back and forth. Okay. And what I was struggling with was how I was going to take care of this side right here, being that it was a long cable. Well, what I did was I had some, Jess, can you hand me one of those? Anyone is just fine. I had some things like this that I put the cables through and used a screw. I didn't use one this size, I used a smaller one. But I just ran a series of them along here. So I may put one there eventually, but I don't think it'll be in the way for right now. And I just did a series of them all the way down. Okay, so now what we're ready to do is plug up all of these cords to the control box. So I'm going to set you down, or maybe not, but I'll just say what I'm doing. I'm gonna plug each one of these up into these spots here. It doesn't matter which cable goes into. The only one that matters is this one, the A one, which is this cord right here, labeled A. It has to go there, but all the rest of them will go here. There'll be one extra one. I'm not sure offhand what that one goes for, or what that one's designated for. But I did run a hole through here, through the back of the bench, over to my power that's over there. So got a surge protector on here. The only thing that's going to be plugged into this surge protector is this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug everything up. Next thing you'll see is powering up the Masso. All right, so machine's all put together, and I must say I'm very, very, very happy. Had a couple bumps and had to figure some things out and make a run to go get it some bits, but we were able to get it done, knocked out. The wife came over and jogged it around, put it through its paces. She even got a little giddy, which is, it makes my heart warm. But it's all put together. The next video I'm gonna do is going to be putting the spindle on. I already have the spindle, it's in a box down there. I was going to do that today, right after this video, but I have to go out of state tomorrow for a class, so I got to get packed and ready for that. But when I get back, I'll do the video on that and run it through its paces, do my first project and stuff like that. So if you like the video, like the content, I know I ramble and do my weird stuff, but if you don't mind, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Tell me if I'm a complete idiot or if what I did was okay. Every little bit helps. Every little bit of interaction helps. But until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you later.